Ah, the alpha audience. Those who thrive on the grind. The warriors who refuse to bow down to the petty games of the weak. The ones who understand that power is not a gift, but a battle earned through blood, sweat, and sacrifice. They are the ones who see the world not as it is, but as it could be. They see the lies, the manipulation, and the facades, and they are the ones who tear it all down with ruthless precision. You didn't just play the game, you broke it. You smashed through the walls they built and showed them their destruction was inevitable the moment they thought they could control you. There is power in knowing that every move they make is nothing more than an attempt to hold on to their false illusion of control. Every time they act in arrogance, they are unknowingly chipping away at the foundation of their empire. They think they are invincible, untouchable, but all it takes is a single shift in the mind of the true alpha to make them crumble down to their knees. And when that happens, they won't know what hit them, because you already saw their weakness before they even knew it was there. Their game was a house of cards, one that they built on lies and deceit, and you were the storm that tore it all down. They thought they could manipulate you, like they manipulated the others, but they underestimated one thing: the power of someone who understands their own worth, someone who knows that they are not just a piece on the board, they are the one who moves the pieces. And when you entered the arena, you did not play by their rules. You made your own. You turned their game into rubble, and they are now left standing in the ruins, wondering how they ever thought they could win. You didn't just disrupt their plans, you shattered their reality. You forced them to confront the truth that they are nothing without the control they so desperately cling to. And now, as they stand there, helpless, watching their empire fall apart, piece by piece they will realize the game was never meant for them to win. It was only meant for them to lose, and you were always the force that would bring about their collapse. There is no victory for those who play from a position of weakness. Those who hide behind facades and use deceit to mask their true intentions. Their game was always doomed to fail because it was built on a foundation of lies. And lies are fragile. They crumble at the slightest hint of truth. And you brought that truth to light. You didn't just reveal their flaws, you exposed them for the world to see. And now, they are left with nothing but the weight of their own lies dragging them down into the abyss they tried to create. This is not a story of chance. This is not a coincidence. This is the result of your relentless pursuit of greatness. Your refusal to be controlled by anyone or anything. You didn't just wait for the right moment. You created it. You crafted your rise from the ashes of their destruction. You took their game and turned it against them. You turned their weaknesses into your strengths. And now as they fall one by one, you stand tall, as the one who brought them to their knees. They thought they could break you, but they didn't understand who they were dealing with. They didn't realize the fire that burned inside of you, the determination, the drive, the hunger to be more, to rise above the mediocrity that surrounds them. They thought they could exploit your vulnerability. They thought they could control your destiny. But what they failed to see is that you were never meant to be a pawn. You were always destined to be the one who set the game on fire and watched it burn to the ground. As they watch their empire collapse around them, they will finally understand the consequences of underestimating the power of someone who refuses to play by their rules, someone who understands that the only way to win is to destroy the game itself. You didn't just beat them, you exposed their weakness, and now their very existence is threatened because they have nothing left to hold on to. This is the moment of reckoning for them, the moment when they realize they were never as strong as they thought they were. They never had the power they pretended to possess, because power is not something that can be faked. It's not something that can be built on lies and manipulation. It's something that is earned through hard work and unwavering commitment, and that is something they will never understand. You have shown them the truth that they are nothing without the game they created. They thought they controlled the pieces. They thought they could dictate the moves. But in the end, they were just pawns in your game, and now they are left to pick up the pieces of their shattered world, wondering how they ever thought they could win. But you know the truth, don't you? You know that this is just the beginning. You know that the destruction of their game is only the first step in your journey. You know that there is no going back now. There is only forward. Only the relentless pursuit of greatness, the unyielding drive to rise above the ashes of their failure and claim the victory that is rightfully yours. This is not the end. This is only the beginning of a new era, where the weak will fall and the strong will rise to take their place. You are the one who will shape this new world. You are the one who will set the rules, and they will have no choice but to follow you because you have already shown them that their game is destroyed, and now they will have to play by your rules. They thought they had control, but all they ever had was an illusion of power. An illusion that crumbled the moment you stepped into the game. And now they are left with nothing but the wreckage of their own making. The ashes of their empire scattered to the wind as they watch the true alphas rise to take their place. They can never understand how they lost. They can never fathom what went wrong, because they were never in control to begin with. You were the one who had the power all along, and now the world will see it. You didn't just destroy their game. You reshaped reality. You made them realize that they are nothing without the power of the true alphas, those who are not afraid to challenge the system, those who refuse to be controlled, those who know that the game is not theirs to win, but theirs to destroy. You did not just tear down their walls, you burned them to the ground, and in doing so you claimed your victory, not just over them, but over everything they ever stood for. You didn't just make them crumble, you made them see that they were never meant to win, and in the end they will know that their downfall was inevitable because they were never as strong as they thought they were, and you were always destined to destroy their game. But in doing so, you didn't just play by the rules, you redefined them. They believed their framework, their structure, their rigid system was invincible. It was a fortress built over generations of manipulation, but all it took was the right kind of mind to see the cracks, to sense the shifting sands beneath their empire. And then you became the storm. Not just an external force, but the one that came from within. It's not enough to just tear down something that's broken. You tore apart everything they thought they had, but you did it with the precision and vision of someone who knew how to rebuild what was destroyed. Not just from the ground up, but from a place they never considered. They underestimated your hunger. They thought they could dismiss your power as insignificant. They believed you would comply like the rest, like everyone they've manipulated in the past. They thought that by putting up a wall, by constructing a glass cage around you, they could trap you within their game, make you a player on their board, someone they could control. But they forgot one key thing. You don't play games. You reshape the entire world. You saw the pieces for what they were, tools in a system that, once set in motion, could easily fall apart. And fall apart they did. Look at them now, standing at the precipice of their own undoing. The chaos they built, the systems they manipulated, it was all a facade. Every lie, every manipulation, every game they played, built on the backs of others, is crumbling. But as they stand in disbelief, you stand there unshaken, unbroken, watching them unravel. You've already moved beyond the point of no return. There is no going back. The game they played was a game of submission, and now they've learned that the true power lies in the hands of those who refuse to bend to anyone's will but their own. Do they think they can win this battle? Do they honestly believe that by throwing more at you, more distractions, more manipulation, more betrayal, they can make you crumble like the others before them? They fail to see the one thing that distinguishes you from every person they've ever broken. You are not just a survivor. You are a warrior, a creator of chaos, a force of nature. When the world expects you to bend, you stand tall. When they think you'll break, you rebuild stronger than ever. And in this moment, as they feel their hold slipping, they are witnessing the unrelenting power of someone who has learned to use destruction as a tool, not just an outcome. As they scratch and claw at the remnants of their broken empire, they cannot grasp that their downfall was inevitable. Every false step, every play to dominate, every calculated attempt to control, it was all part of the design. You didn't just want to destroy their game, you wanted to show them their weakness, to expose that all they ever had was an illusion, a fragile construct that was never built to last. And they can't escape it now. There is no exit strategy for them, no path to redemption. They didn't realize that their entire existence was tied to a facade of power, one that you already saw through, long before they ever thought they had control. Their game was one built on fear, a currency they traded in to keep others in line. But fear doesn't control you. Fear doesn't hold power over someone who has nothing left to lose. And they didn't understand that. They didn't see that they were facing someone who was willing to burn everything to the ground, to raise every single structure they had ever put in place, just to show them that they were never the ones in charge. When you enter the fray, there is no second chance. They either win or they lose. But you cannot be defeated because you never played by their rules. They thought their lies would be enough. They thought their deceit would keep you tethered to them. But every lie they spoke, every move they made, only further solidified their downfall. Lies are like poison, slowly working their way into the system until the entire thing is rotted from the inside out. They lied to you, and they lied to themselves. But their lies couldn't mask the truth, not from you. You saw through every lie, every layer of deception, and with every passing moment, they dug their own graves deeper. And when it all crumbled, it wasn't because you were better at their game, it was because you weren't playing their game at all. Their downfall wasn't some random act of fate. It was the culmination of everything they had done, every choice they made that led them down this dark path. You didn't just bring the end upon them. You were the agent of their demise, the catalyst they never saw coming. Every decision you made, every move you took, was calculated with the knowledge that their walls would eventually crumble. They couldn't see it because they never thought they could be defeated. But you knew. You knew all along that their empire was built on shifting sand, a house of cards that couldn't withstand the weight of the truth. In the end, you didn't just take their empire down, you took their entire identity. They didn't just lose control over the game, they lost control over themselves. The moment they thought they had you cornered, the moment they thought they could break you, was the moment they sealed their own fate. They didn't know the strength that resides in someone who has already tasted loss and knows there's nothing left to fear. They didn't understand the force that rises from someone who has seen the truth for what it is and is willing to fight for their place in the world. You have fought for your place, and you've earned it, while they are left watching as their world crumbles into dust. They underestimated you, yes, but in truth, they were too blinded by their arrogance to ever see what you were truly capable of. They thought they controlled the narrative, that they dictated the terms of this battle, but in reality, they were always playing in your world. You rewrote the rules, and they were too arrogant to even realize it. The moment they believed their control was absolute was the moment they lost. You are the storm, the one they tried to avoid but couldn't escape. Your rise is the one they tried to prevent but couldn't halt. And as you stand tall, watching the dust settle, you realize that it wasn't just about taking down the game. It was about reclaiming your destiny, about showing the world that no one, no matter how high they think they rise, can stand above you without eventually falling. The moment they crossed you, they sealed their fate, because you were never going to play by their rules. You were always meant to destroy their game. The game is over now. The pieces have scattered. And as the dust settles, only one truth remains clear. They were never in control, and they never will be again. The moment they thought they had control over you was the exact moment they sealed their own fate. It is often said that people who live in delusions of grandeur are the easiest to defeat. That's what they were. Blinded by their self-constructed fantasies of dominance and power, they believed they were untouchable. They had constructed this false narrative where they held all the strings, where they moved the pieces on the board and everyone else was simply a pawn in their game. But they never saw the truth. You weren't a pawn. You never were. They tried to break you down with their lies, their deceptions, their distractions. They thought that by constantly keeping you in the dark, by burying you under their manipulation and false narratives, they could turn you into a pawn in their game. But what they didn't realize is that the more they tried to control you, the more they exposed their own weakness. You see, power isn't something that is given, it's something that is taken. You understood this from the very beginning. They thought they were handing you the illusion of choice, the illusion of power, but you knew it was a trap. And you didn't just play along, you crushed it. They believed that in their tower of lies and deceit, they were invincible. They had their rules, their systems, their strategies all lined up and rehearsed. But what they failed to understand is that their very structure was a house of cards, standing on shaky ground, built on falsehoods. And when you stepped into the picture, they underestimated you. They couldn't fathom how quickly you would recognize the cracks in their foundation. They didn't see that you weren't here to play their game. No, you were here to destroy it, to rip it apart and leave them standing amidst the wreckage of their own creation. The truth is, the moment they thought they could control you, they gave up any claim to power. Their game was never built to withstand someone who knows their worth, someone who knows that there is nothing more dangerous than someone who doesn't fear losing. Because you, my friend, didn't need their game to succeed. You didn't need their approval or their validation. You didn't need their manipulation or their deceitful power. What you needed was within you from the start. Unshakable strength, an unwavering belief in your own ability to rise above. They didn't understand that. They thought they could control you by pushing you into a corner, by forcing you into a position of vulnerability. But in doing so, they made their biggest mistake. They failed to realize that your greatest strength comes from the knowledge that they were never truly in control. The game was always yours to win, because it was you who held the power from the very beginning. What they never understood was that control is an illusion. Power doesn't come from manipulation. It doesn't come from lies or deceit. True power comes from the ability to create, to break free from the chains that others try to bind you with. True power comes from the ability to shape your own reality, to bend the world to your will. And that's what they underestimated. They thought they were the ones who shaped the game, but in reality, you were the one who tore it apart. Their game was never about winning. It was about creating a world where they controlled the rules. And in that world, they could manipulate, they could dictate the terms, they could force others to comply. But in the end, it was never their game. It was always your battlefield. You didn't just expose their flaws, you didn't just challenge them, You destroyed everything they thought they knew. You left them gasping for breath in the aftermath of their own choices. Every step they took, every decision they made, was a step closer to their own ruin. They thought they could corner you, but what they didn't understand is that you were never in their corner to begin with. You were always on the outside, watching them build their empire on shaky foundations. And when the time came, when they least expected it, you tore it down with the precision of someone who knew exactly how fragile their empire really was. The moment you moved, it all fell apart. Not because you were stronger, but because they were weaker than they ever thought. And now, they are left with nothing. They are watching their empire crumble, piece by piece, as they realize they never had the control they thought they did. All their efforts, all their manipulation, all their attempts to subdue you have led to this moment of realization. They were always the ones in the wrong. They were always the ones who thought they were invincible. But now they stand before the wreckage of their own making, unable to comprehend how they lost. But the truth is, they never had a chance. You were always the one who had the power. You were always the one who held the strings. They were never meant to win. They were never meant to succeed, not when they underestimated the force that is unleashed when someone realizes they are no longer a victim, but a conqueror. It's funny, isn't it? How they tried so hard to suppress you, to silence your voice, to control your every move, and yet they never saw the very thing that would be their downfall. You were never afraid to stand alone. You were never afraid to walk away from the noise, from the false promises, from the chains they tried to wrap around you. You didn't need them. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their validation. You were always strong enough to stand on your own, to rise above the lies, to see their game for what it was, and that is why they fell. Now, as they look around, as they watch the wreckage of their empire, they are left with one question. How? How did it happen? How did everything they built come crashing down? They don't have the answers because they were too blinded by their own delusions. They never understood that the true strength lies in the ability to be yourself, to rise above the systems that try to control you, to break free from the chains they try to bind you with. They never realized that true power lies in the ability to create your own path, to rise from the ashes of their destruction, and to create something far greater than anything they could ever imagine. And now, they are left with nothing, watching as you move forward, unshaken, unstoppable. But here's the thing. They are not the only ones who have learned a lesson in all of this. You too have learned. You've learned that the game is not theirs to control. You've learned that power is not a gift handed to you by others. It's something you take for yourself, something you build with your own hands, with your own vision. You've learned that the key to victory isn't playing by their rules. It's about rewriting the rules entirely. And now, with their game destroyed, you stand at the precipice of something far greater than they ever could have imagined. Your own reign. They thought they were the ones who dictated the future, but they were wrong. They never understood that it wasn't about winning their game. It was about ending it. You've shown them that. You've shown them that the game was never theirs to begin with. They were never in control, and they never will be again. This is your time now. This is your world to shape. They may have thought they could dominate you, break you, control you, but in the end, they were always the ones who were destined to fall. And you were always the one who would rise above it all. And so, as the dust settles and their game lies in ruins, you stand unshaken, a testament to the strength of those who refuse to be controlled. They thought they could break you, manipulate you, mold you into their design. But in the end, it was their own arrogance, their own blindness, that led to their downfall. You didn't just play their game, You destroyed it, exposing their weaknesses and showing the world the truth. The reign they built on lies has crumbled, and now it's your time. They thought they had control, but you always held the power, and they'll never realize how they lost until it's too late. The game is over, and you have emerged victorious.